Hey guys, my name's Chris Inglezu and welcome back to another edition of my video blog where I talk all about freshwater ecosystems, freshwater biotopes, tropical fish species, the importance of conservation in all of that. And today, actually, before we go into this story, I just want to say a quick thank you to all of you who have placed orders for biotope related books from my website in the last week or so. It's been quite a busy week for books, and we've just had a new book in. It's up at the moment for pre-order until it's released in May, but you can order your copies now and we'll hold that on file for once they arrive in. They get shipped immediately. And shipped worldwide. So this book is actually all about bristlenoses, and I know a lot of you guys keep them. They're very popular in the hobby. So it's all about the genus Ancestris. It's a hefty book, lots of details of all these different types of bristlenoses, their habitats, and so much more. Written by two really respected guys in the fishy world, fishy universe, and so I hope you guys will enjoy it. So if you want to learn more about that or any other books, go to my website cefishessentials.com, and you can see more. Alright, so today I want to be honest, I wanted to talk about this whole trip, but there are so many stories and so many places that I went along the Jandiatuba River that I have to break this down into place by place and just give you little snippets of what I experienced there and talk about what it was like, what I found there, and so yeah, I'm just gonna walk you guys through one particular isolated lake that we found in the lower Jandiatuba River, which is a southern tributary of the Amazonas, the big Amazon River, and it's not too far from the border with Peru and quite close to the border with Colombia as well. So it's in Brazil, and we descended the Amazon, I believe, and went all the way to the mouth of the Jandiatuba River. We went really far up and explored a whole bunch of tributaries in the upper Jandiatuba region, and on the way back, this was one of the last little places that we came across, but it was so fascinating, and so I'm going to tell you about it right now. So first of all, I'm going to put a little map up for you to see exactly where it was, and yeah, I'm going to tell you all about it. So, right, we arrived at this place. Now, if you imagine the Jandiatuba River, it's a silty river, so it's a whitewater river is what they call it. And not to be confused with whitewater like rapids, that's different. They call this whitewater, and some of the lakes close to the river are quite silty. There was another habitat that we found just like that, which I'll talk about sometime in another video. But this lake was actually isolated and was a black water lake. And it was here where we thought we may actually be able to find some discus fish, so Symphysodon. And the idea was that this would probably represent the most westerly, yeah, maybe the most westerly population of the green discus fish, right? So we went there. The interesting thing that we found when we got there was that there was actually a kind of canoe, like a wooden canoe, which we presume was used by people from the local villages. They probably leave them there and then go and fish in this lake, and I understand why, because I got into this canoe and started just slowly paddling around. It had a really beautiful hand-carved paddle, and I wish I'd taken a picture of it. There might be a picture somewhere, but I don't know if I have it. Anyway, So slowly paddling around this lake, and man, we saw some lovely things, but it was one of the first times on that trip that I got to really observe the jungle in silence, because it was just me you know, in that lake and in that boat, and there was no engines from the bigger boat, you know, where you're traveling from A to B. It can get quite loud, and a lot of species tend to scatter when they hear noise like that. But this was lovely. I was able to see monkeys in the trees, and what else did I see? I saw a beautiful lizard, and I still haven't been able to identify this particular species, but I believe it might belong to the genus Ameiva. Unbelievable colours. There was green, there was blue, there was red and black on the tail. It was something else. Anyway, I was also able to see what fish were they now? I'll have to try and remember the name of the fish. They've gone out of my mind now. But definitely saw some Mesonauta swimming around, which was nice. It was nice to see them kind of dawdling around, picking off, you know, little bits of algae and such growing on submerged leaves and that sort of thing. Now, one of the things that made this habitat quite distinct for discus fish really was that it was surrounded by quite dense thickets of Lichenia trees. They do produce a fruit which is consumed by discus fish and many other species, but they also provide really nice habitat for hiding in between the branches, and often the large pieces of dead tree will fall down and they create micro habitat for discus fish to hide in, and that's normally where you find them, especially in the dry season. And at this time it was the dry season. So we were looking for them there. Just having a little look around. It wasn't really until the night time that we started really searching there, but during the day, it was coming towards the end of the day, but as I was going around this lake, one of the things I've really noticed that was amazing and that stood out to me was every so often, periodically, maybe every couple of minutes, you could hear a big gasp coming out of the water, you know, like a big sort of thing. And I was thinking, wow, what is that? I thought maybe it was one of the bottos, the dolphin species. But I thought, no, it can't be, because we were testing the depth of this lake, and I think at max, at the very deepest, it would have been 3 to 4 meters. And I thought, no, that can't be. It would be stuck here. So it could be an accident, maybe. But then it occurred to me after a while listening and watching that most likely we were hearing the gasping of Arapaima, because they also breathe in that way, and from the mouth rather than the blowhole. So it made a bit more sense, and it was very much a kind of inward sound rather than an expelling sound that you might get from a dolphin. So yeah, that was very exciting. I thought, okay, we'll try to see, but again, very elusive. A very elusive species that didn't really want to be seen, and I didn't want to go too close because I was only in a small canoe, and if it was really big and it swiped me with its tail or something, I could probably turn over. So I didn't test that. I didn't test those waters, shall we say. Anyway, coming to the evening time, we set up our camp, and I was actually looking forward to this because every night we usually go out and look for different species around the jungle on land, so terrestrial insects, even arachnids, you know, scorpion, spiders, tree frogs especially. Wow, found some amazing tree frog species. If any of you guys see any of these photos and you know the species names or even a genus, then definitely share it with me, because I don't know all of them. I know we came across a lot of amazing species, but yeah, this was fascinating anyway, so do share if you know. But yeah, so in the night time is a very nice time to kind of poke around the shallows, and you can start to look for sleeping fish. This is quite an easy way to catch different types of cichlids, because they often sleep among the twigs and the leaves. But you find other species too. So we were doing that, and I've got a lovely list of fish that we actually observed and some nice photos, so I'll put them up. Was able to find those Mesonauta, which I believe to be Myrioficus. Very beautiful, and contrastingly different to the ones that I then went on to find in the Atabapo River, which were Mesonauta egregius. Very different, and those were extremely yellow in coloration. It was really interesting to see, but I'll share that in another video. Or you can check out the articles. I do have various articles on my website, on my articles page, so you can go on there and have a read and see the photos for yourselves. Yeah, we also found Satanoperca, a species, but I'm not good with the ID of those of that genus. So if anyone knows, please do share. A very nice Acaronia, some type of what I guess could be called a Cyclosoma. I think. Again, if any of you guys know, do share it with me. And then of course, very, very beautiful Hypsilicara. And these were all asleep in the night time, and you can notice that on the colours of the Hypsilicara as well. It's very much in its sleeping mode when we took the pictures. Still hadn't woken up properly. Now, in addition to these slightly larger fish, we found some very tiny ones, and these were mostly in the leaf litter. As you're catching some of the cichlids, you'll find you also catch leaves, and then you'll catch whatever's hiding among the leaves as well. And here we found this tiny Doradid, like a little catfish, and just for size comparison, I took a photo of it next to Nanostomus trifasciatus, and you know, that's a tiny fish, and so you can see really how small this little catfish was. And yeah, so it must be hiding in there, and then, you know, opportunistically feeding on invertebrates and so on. Really nice species. We also found a Chilodus from the kind of headstander family. Beautiful spots in the dorsal fin. And then what I thought at first was an Otocinclus, but I thought it was quite big. And then I came to learn at the time that this was actually Hippoptopoma, which is very similar to Otocinclus, but slightly larger, almost like a magnified version. And again, you can see it in the photo next to the Nanostomus, and you know, you can get a gauge of how, you know, the size is for that species. There was also another Nanostomus, Nanostomus equus. This is one of my favorites, actually. I really like this species, even though there are some really, really nice ones. Yeah, there's something about Nanostomus equus that really appeals to me. I just find them very sweet, especially if you find them in groups. You know, if you keep them in groups in a nice biotope with lots of leaf litter, and they really do stand out. They're really a very nice species to keep, and not too flashy. I think they just blend in really nicely with the habitat, and that's what maybe appeals to me. But yeah, so they were there. And then really, really cool was being able to find what turned out to be, I think, a Belonion species. This is a tiny little fish with a long appendage on its lower jaw, and it just looks so quirky and interesting. I don't know a lot about their ecology. I presume it to be a surface-dwelling fish and most likely predating on insects, but I really don't understand or know much about the use of the long appendage on the jaw, so that would be nice to learn about. Maybe it's advantageous to look like a twig, to be mistaken for a twig or something like that. if any of you guys know, definitely share it with me. They were really fascinating little fish, very cute. They look amazing in a fish tank. But yeah, and then in and around this area we did come across a very nice species of Corydoras catfish. And now this one was a bit of an anomaly, because when we found this, we didn't quite know what it was, but suspected that it was a new species. On doing a little bit of research and speaking to a few of my kind of Corydoras pals in the hobby, it seems as though it most closely resembles Corydoras lamberti, but looking at the distribution of that species, I could only find the closest population of Corydoras lamberti to be something like 800 kilometers west from this location. So I was a bit unsure if that could be that species, and it would also have to cross the entire Amazon river to be to be connected, and or to be the same species. So I don't know. I presume it to be a very similar species with perhaps a common ancestor or something like that. So we may never find out, because I don't know what happened. Most of the fish went back anyway, as far as I understand. So we'll never find out, I don't think, but we'll see. Maybe one day. Yeah, other than that, again, exploring in the night time is fascinating. We had our little head torches and we're looking for all sorts of creatures that live in these forests, not just the fishes. And we were able to come across a lovely juvenile caiman. I think this was Caiman crocodilus. So I don't know what type, what the common name for that is. Spectacled caiman, maybe, I think. But anyway, really sweet. This little thing was so patient. We were holding it, taking pictures and so on, and then put it down and let it just go about its business. And it was a really nice experience. We tried not to pester them for too long, just take a few photos and make the observation essentially, and then let them go as kindly as possible. Also came across some on this trip, some huge spiders, one of which was this lovely avicularia, I think it is, but I don't know the species. Again, guys, help me out here. I'm not a spider specialist, so I would appreciate any advice on what species you guys think it might be, if you know. This one was housed on the side of this tree that you can see in the photo, inside a camouflaged web, say about this big. It had a hole on either side, I think, or one, the bottom had an entrance and the top had some holes. I don't know if they were intentional. But the web itself was really cleverly decorated to look like the bark of the tree, and I don't know if that was the just the general, over time, the weather making things stick onto the web. Maybe the spider makes a sticky web and things stick onto that, or if the spider does this in some intentional type of way. You can see a little bit of the entrance in the photo that I put up. But yeah, really fascinating. So I could tell there was a spider in there, so I very gently put a little twig in the back end, and then the spider came out, a bit surprised. We took some photos and then we left it alone, and it went right back in. So yeah, really nice experience to see that species, one that I had not seen before. So yeah, tree frogs. Wow, one of the main things you can hear in the jungle at night are these tree frogs. They sound like crickets. They're almost indistinguishable in so many different types and sounds, and you can never really tell what you're going to find. Is it going to be a large insect or a cricket of some kind? Is it going to be a frog? And one of these, I don't know what species this is, and I've had trouble trying to identify it. So any amphibian people, please do help me out. This was a fascinating one, kind of tiger striped almost. Beautiful, beautiful frog. And then the only other interesting one is this this was a funny moment actually. So I'll put the picture up. So you've got this snake here, which I managed to identify as, I think, Pseudoboa nuidii. Okay, I think the common name is something like ratonel. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know better, but I believe it to be that species. Now, the funny thing was, we were all digging around in the kind of very, very shallow areas of the lake. It's night time. You're obviously heightened senses because you don't know what's around you. It's very, very dark, and you're poking around in the water where there are caiman, and you have to be very careful. There could be anacondas there, and you don't know, you might disturb something and it tries to defend itself. So, or you could actually just be a prey of a caiman, who knows. But so we're all poking around, looking for things, and so on and so on. And I think it might have been my friend Marcelo or maybe Enrique. They were both on the left of me, and they were trying to get a bit further into the water underneath this fallen log, because this is typically where you find Symphysodon, the discus fish. And I think they were just, you know, they're the sort of guys, I love them for this, they're the sort of guys that will go the extra step to the places where people wouldn't want to go, on the off chance that they might find something really interesting. And I have that in me, and so when you're surrounded by people like that, it's really encouraging, and it's great. You find cool things. I'm going to do another video following this one, talking about us discovering a population of Parachirodon inesi, so neon tetras, and it was a new occurrence of that species within its distribution range. So it was really, really nice to find, but I'll talk about that more in another video. But so these guys are digging around in this area, and I think they must have surprised this snake, and it looked like it was flying to me, because my head was down and I'm digging around like this, and then suddenly the snake just goes whoosh. Did it jump? Did it fly? I don't know what it did, but it went straight across my face, and it was a definite surprise. My first instinct was, wow, what the hell is that? I saw it was a snake and it's trying to get away, chased after it, managed to slow it down, and we got a really nice photo of it and then let it go. So didn't even put a hand on it, to be honest, so that was nice. But yeah, managed to get it to stop and catch a photo. So yeah, thank you. I believe it was John Lenigan that took that photo, so thank you, John. You took some so many amazing photos that captured really precious moments on that trip for me and for many others. So I'll forever be indebted to you for that. All right, well, yeah, that was some of the stories from this particular lake. We didn't find any discus fish in the end because I think it was a little bit too shallow, and I don't know if discus fish extend that far west. To be honest, I question if they do. It looks as though they should from the maps, but just the shape of the river, it may be that they just don't reach that corner of the Amazon. So yeah, interesting information nevertheless, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the photos. Share with me your thoughts in the comments. If you like this kind of content, I'm going to try to do more of the stories, because I think people do like to hear them. And let me know, subscribe. It really does help me to reach a wider audience. And again, if you guys want to learn more about freshwater habitats, fishes in their habitats, and biotopes in the wild, then just check out my website, cefishessentials.com. There's a book for almost everywhere. I'm trying my best to get in new books all the time, so you guys can learn more and more about these fishes in their natural habitats, and disseminate information to the rest of the world. My hope is that on learning all of this information, people will understand and appreciate the preciousness of freshwater ecosystems, and the preciousness of our rainforests and these wild places, and act to conserve them. And whether that's tangible conservation or whether that's donations or whatever it is, there's something you can do. If you're interested in conservation, please look up Freshwater Life Project. This is a charity that I founded around about 2015. We registered in 2017. We're a small voluntary organization, and we work to conserve freshwater ecosystems and protect endangered freshwater species on Earth, all around the world. We're only a small organization, so we're trying our best to do more and more, but we do need help and we do need your support. So do check it out, freshwaterlifeproject.org. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. Join me on the next one. I'll try to share another interesting story for you from my explorations, and yeah, I look forward to see you then. All right, have a great day. Don't forget to subscribe. See you later.